You're chasing it. Or you chased it and caught it, and yet it still doesn't feel like enough. Maybe you didn't want the goal, you wanted the feeling you thought the goal would give you. At the end of episode 1, I challenged you with what's something you've been chasing that hasn't given you peace. Today we're going to break down why the arrival never feels the way we think it will. The myth of the arrival. This concept is the belief that once you hit a milestone, rank, income, house, body, title, you'll finally feel peace, worthiness, and happiness. It shows up in military promotions, in retirement ceremonies. It shows up in the corporate ladder and corner offices. It's in social media, the highlight reels of success. It's seductive because it seems to give a clear target, a promise of emotional payoff and social validation. Here's a quote from Super Bowl champion A.J. Brown after winning the championship with the Philadelphia Eagles. He says, "I tried to feel how everyone made it seem to be a champion, and unfortunately, it was short-lived. 2 days to be exact. I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't." Now, that's not the end of the quote. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, but I want to talk about that first part. I want to talk about post-achievement emptiness because it's real. You achieve something that you really want, and you enjoy it for a short period of time, and then you think, well, now what? Why don't I feel different? And is this all there is? And sometimes there's a little bit of guilt, maybe a little bit of shame in why don't I feel more excited about this thing? Or why don't I feel like everybody else feels? There's this lingering restlessness, confusion over why gratitude doesn't erase the feeling. And sometimes to the point that there might even be a subtle burnout or a loss of motivation. But it's not failure. It's evidence of a deeper need beyond the goal. Content is not the same as complacent. And arrival is not the same as alignment. So I want to start by challenging this underlying assumption. I think that we've been measuring arrival all wrong. We chase outcomes when what we really want are those internal states, the peace, the joy, and the meaning. The destination mindset makes fulfillment a moving target. You either achieve it or you get close and suddenly it's moved down the road a little bit further. And it's this external reward system in everywhere, military, corporate, sports. It teaches us to tie self-worth to achievement. And A.J. Brown's experience is common for people who achieve something and then wonder what now. So let's look at what it means to reframe the experience. I want to offer a little bit of a tool set for you. A few ideas to help change your perspective on the myth of arrival. The first one, and the most important one, the one I'm going to talk about most, is identity over outcome. Who you are becoming matters more than what you achieve. If you lost tomorrow, if you lost it all tomorrow, who would you still be? An old school movie that I really love, 1993, Cool Runnings, about the Jamaican bobsled team. It's not historically accurate at all. So if you watch that movie, if you've never watched it before, if you watch it, just recognize that it's a good movie, it's a funny movie, it's an emotionally motivating movie, but it's not what actually happened. The story is much different, much more positive, much more productive. The movie makes it seem like everybody hated him and nobody wanted them to win, but that's not the case at all. But in this movie, the late great John Candy, comedian of my generation, he is the coach of the Jamaican bobsled team, and he was formerly a champion who got caught cheating. And so he had been disgraced for years. But he's now struggling to regain his credibility and working with the first Jamaican team. And as they're getting ready to get into the competition, the captain of the current team, Darius Bannock, and I'm going to read this. I pulled this off the quotes. The coach says they start off in this conversation. It's really uncomfortable. And the coach is like, "You want to know why I cheated?" It's a fair question. It's quite simple, really. I had to win. You see, Darius, I'd made winning my whole life. And when you make winning your whole life, you have to keep winning no matter what. Do you understand that? Darius looks at him and says, "No, I don't understand. You won 2 gold medals. You had it all." And the coach says, "Darius, a gold medal is a wonderful thing. But if you're not enough without one, you'll never be enough with one." That's pretty powerful, man. And it's that chasing validation that's a trap. Because the coach admitted he had to win because his whole identity was built on being a champion. And that's why he cheated. When winning becomes your only source of worth, you'll do anything to keep it. Fulfillment is important, but it comes from who you are, not from what you achieve. And it's this self-awareness before the finish line that's important. Because, coach tells him the crossing the finish line, when the conversation continues on where Darius is like, "Well, how am I going to know if that's enough?" And the coach says, "Well, when you cross the finish line tomorrow, you're going to know. Regardless of the medal's color or any medal at all, you're going to know." And so I think this is a really cool opportunity to just check your why, check who you are. There's character and culture thrown around in professional development and coaching, but I think they're extremely important conversations. Not only who you are, character, but what you're a part of, culture. Both of those things will be created whether you intentionally create it or you allow something to happen. Your character is going to be created. The culture of the environment that you spend time in is going to be created. And if you don't deliberately create both of those, something will still be created and you may not like it. So are you pursuing your goals from a place of self-worth or to earn self-worth? It's more important to anchor in your identity, not your outcomes. And I want you to ask yourself, if this goal does not happen, or if you achieve it, but it was taken away from you for whatever reason, who would you be? Would you still be that person? Would you still have self-worth? It's important to celebrate without the dependence. And that includes other people as well. We talk about, this person completes me, like the old Tom Cruise quote from the movie, where people looking for other people to save them or to complete them. You need to be complete on your own before you can be good for other people. You need to be good on your own before you can be good to other people. And it's okay to share your life. I've got a great partner. I've got a great wife. But if I'm not good for me, if I don't put myself as a priority, I can't be good for her and I can't be good for the boys. I can't be good for other people. So I have to make sure that my identity is clear, that I'm driving towards a clear character of who I want to be and the culture of what I want to create around me, because otherwise it's still going to be created and it may not be productive for what I'm trying to achieve as a man, as a husband, as whatever it is that I'm trying to do. There has to be internal validation before there's external validation. And so celebrate without the dependence. Let victories be bonuses, but not proof of your value. And so that was the most important one that I wanted to get to, was the identity over outcome. There's 2 more that I want to touch on. The first one is process over milestones. And this one's important because peace lives in how you move, not where you land. And so it's important to understand that this drive that you have is the journey. It's the enjoyment that you want to have. The outcomes are great, but you need to learn to enjoy the process, even the struggle, including the struggle, because the struggle is where you're going to grow. So what daily actions align with who you want to be and what you want to achieve? That's where you should be putting your effort. And that's where you should find enjoyment, in the path, not just the outcome. And then the third one is meaning over metrics. Numbers don't tell the whole story. Purpose gives context to success. So ask yourself, why does this matter to you beyond the recognition? I recently finished up a 6-week weight loss challenge. I had a goal of, in 6 weeks, I wanted to try to lose 20 pounds. I had previously put myself back into a really good schedule. I was going to the gym in the morning prior to going to work, mainly because it would beat traffic. But hey, it was, whatever the reason, it got me to the gym. Okay, well, that got me into a regular routine of waking up at 5:30 in the morning, whatever I decided my schedule was going to be. Even when I was tired, I got into that habit, and that became the routine. Okay, once I got into the routine, then it was maximizing, optimizing what are the actual workouts I'm doing, right? So little changes at a time. I changed the workouts, optimized those so that I was getting back into good workouts. I was periodization, whatever that word is, making sure that, for a short period of time I was doing this emphasis, for another short period of time I was doing this emphasis, and I was building myself back up in all these different areas. I was making great strength gains. I was having really good advancements in my lifts, but also in getting back into my form, getting back into stretching. I was feeling good. Okay, got it. So I made those advancements, but I wasn't seeing a lot of changes in my weight and my physique. I was seeing the muscle, but I wasn't seeing the weight loss. Okay, so then my next step was to dial in my diet. And I really went hard for 6 weeks. And there were some hiccups within that. And after the end of the 6 weeks, I had lost a little over 10 pounds. I want to say from my highs, because I started my weight loss at 239.5. I finished up at 229.5. But actually prior to that, at one point I had got up to 242 or 243. So really I'd lost somewhere around 13 to 14 pounds from my highest point. And so, no, I didn't achieve my goal of 20 pounds. But what I did achieve was a significant improvement in my discipline, in my routines, in my productive habits, in my eating habits, my portion control, the speed at which I ate, the things that I ate, being more deliberate about the things. And I had buy-in from my family too. This is amazing that they were there to support me. They understood that, hey, you want sweet treats, I'm not going to participate. And they didn't force it. And they were very respectful of my goal. And they even coached me through it. They helped me through it. It was great. I didn't reach my goal, but what I did achieve was possibly far greater than the actual goal I was trying to achieve. Because not only did I lose weight, but I lost inches. And I got a bunch of the guys that I know at the gym they were giving me feedback. I'd walk in the gym after a couple weeks. Maybe they hadn't seen me for a while. They were, holy crap, look at you, man. Like you're getting ripped. You look good. And it was just compliments that I received from people of the recognition, not only of the physique changes, but also the mentality changes and the consistency and the intensity in which I showed up and I did the work. Though, man, you're just killing it. And it didn't matter that I didn't reach the goal. The goal was just a number. And so rather than focusing on the metrics, it was the meaning. It was the effort. It was the intensity. It was the routine and the habits that I put that made a massive impact on how I felt, not only physically, but also, I guess, emotionally, and the self-esteem and the self-concept and the self-confidence in, yeah, I still got it. I can do this stuff. And it felt good, right? And so you have those three ideas. You have the meaning over metrics, you have process over milestones, and you have identity over outcome. And I want to finish up this quote. I want to go back to this quote from A.J. Brown because, he said, I never been a champion at the highest level. My thrill for this game. So I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. That's where I ended. And so the rest of the quote carries on. My thrill for this game comes from when I dominate. It's the hunt that does it for me. It's when the DB drops his head and surrenders because he can't mess with me. The intense battles, early mornings, late nights, sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces. Don't get me wrong. He's talking about I love winning the Super Bowl, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. It's the journey that I love. It's the journey that I love the most. Back to work. And I think that's a great attitude that the Super Bowl is great. Like nobody could ever take that away, but it was also nobody else could take away the feeling he got from the chase and the self-esteem and the idea that he did everything that he could do and he achieved something great, but it was more of the meaning and the journey that was so amazing that from that quote. That's what I took. And so when you have this idea of this passion and this purpose, but also want to be peaceful in the journey, you're not broken for feeling restless. You're just not done becoming, right? Your focus should be on identity over outcome, process over milestone, and meaning over metrics. So a few things that I want you to take away and I want you to think about. First of all, what story have you told yourself about what success would feel like or should feel like? What did you imagine it would feel like? Second, where have you postponed peace until after something happens? And then finally, what would alignment look like if there were no next milestone? And I'm not saying don't have any milestones. I'm saying that are you still going to have peace if you can enjoy the process and the life of the chase, but also find peace in the moment and being okay with who you are while you're chasing those things. There's no real arrival. There is achievement of outcome goals, but it's more about anchoring in your purpose, your identity, and your present moment. Now we're going to explore why calm can feel lazy to driven people in episode 4. Why calm can feel lazy to driven people, and how to rewire the way that you see rest, which is extremely important because rest is the foundation of recovery. And part of being present is reminding yourself that both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you need to rest. I want you to think about one way that you can apply reframing this week and how you can start the process of rewiring that idea of enjoying the chase while you also enjoy the moment. Thanks a lot for listening to Unsettled with Neil Wattier. I hope you take something powerful from this episode. Share the episode with someone you think is still chasing. Follow me at Life of Neil for daily reflections on both YouTube and TikTok. Support the show by subscribing, liking, hearting, or whatever the options are now. And remember that ambition isn't the enemy of peace. Peace doesn't mean standing still. Stay grounded, stay unsettled.